It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
Hey, it's time for another cup of coffee from Slumberland at the lake, and we have a lot of local headlines from casinos, and guess what? Sports betting online, it's coming.
Here it comes, that's right, good or bad, it's here.
Hey, the Osage Indians still alive, and although the Chiefs are still playing, that might be more than you can say for Kansas City.
They do not look good.
No, rough weekend for them. We'll talk about that. We got some great holiday events, and of course, really cool sale going on right here. It's Black Friday all month long right here at Slumberland at the lake.
Hey everybody, it's Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. We've got a dining table with 4 chairs and a bench for $3.99. Then we have this reclining sofa for $7.99. And we're not going to leave out the lazy boys. We have these great recliners in 2 different colors for $3.99. You can also do 0% interest financing until 2029. We deliver the entire lake area and beyond. Come check out the Black Friday deals at Slumberland Furniture.
Dr. Matt Price here.
And I'm Dwayne Randall, and we are from Price & Randall Injury Attorneys.
With Thanksgiving around the corner, it got us thinking
about all that we have to be thankful for this year.
Of course, family, friends, our health.
But it also got us thinking about how important safety behind the wheel is.
And with travel plans surely in your future, don't forget to buckle up and put your phones down.
This Thanksgiving reminder to drive safe, boat safe, brought to you by Price & Randall Injury Attorneys.
All right, so before we get into the news headlines, for me, the biggest headline of the weekend is the Osage Indians still playing football.
Yeah, they won their district championship last week, a big win over Moberly, 28-7, I think. And the 6th district championship in Coach Shannon Jolly's coaching history, at least at Osage and Eldon. He's won 3 district titles at each place, so now he moves on to the state quarterfinals.
Yeah, and it was an awesome night. It started with an 82-yard pick six from senior Ethan Wall. The defense for Osage, which has been incredible over the last 8 games, giving up less than 12 points a game. 3 takeaways. 5 times they turned the Moberly Spartans over on downs within their own 25-yard line.
That's huge.
A lot of points, potential points left on the board. Defense, they bend, but they did not break. Brock Arrowood, the senior, 150 yards rushing, 3 tutties, put him over the 1,000-yard mark on the season, which you don't see as often anymore at the high school level, right? It's all passing, which is great, but to see a running back in Brock Arrowood, 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns, and that defense tough. And after the game, it moved Brady Clark, the senior, 45 of 47 on the year for PATs.
Wow.
Pretty incredible. 6 of 8 from field goal, and Maverick Trusty, he had a big game managing, but 2 big punts in the game, a 55-yarder and a 43-yarder inside the Moberly 10, really flipped fields and made it tough. So they'll move on Saturday at St. Clair, game at 1 o'clock. We'll be making the trip. You got to check us out on Facebook, as you'll see those highlights and a lot of those updates, interviews with coaches, and of course that ever popular post-game speech. Win or lose, we'll have that for you. So make sure you follow us on Facebook, and also if you're on Twitter, now X, right, you can follow me, William_Lake TV, and I tweet kind of in-game score updates, and almost every scoring play I try to get posted. It's going to be awesome, and the trip to the Final Four is up for grabs.
1 game away. If they win Saturday, they're going to the Final Four, which, I mean, that's rare. That is so huge if Osage can get there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. So good luck to Shannon Jolly and the Osage Indians this weekend as they continue their quest for a state championship. All right, so casinos, Lake of the Ozarks, it's all you'll see if you've been on Facebook. But 2 different casinos now are the topic. And we're going to start with the City of Lake Ozark, their big meeting last week, right? It was the second hearing for both bills to support the Osage Nation.
Yeah, and unanimously they passed 2 bills striking a deal with the Osage Nation regarding its plans to put in the casino, and that would be right across from Menards, right there on Osage Beach Parkway. After those bills passed, they weren't done, right? The board unanimously approved a resolution in support of a proposed private investor-developed casino near the Osage River. So 2 separate casinos both get the green light from the city unanimously, which is interesting. Of course, we know the Osage Nation with the one casino. The other one, privately owned, has changed its name. So if you remember, it was on the ballot. It needed to change the Missouri Constitution in order to add a casino to the river system. The new name, it was formerly called Osage River Gaming and Conventions. Now it's the Lake of the Ozarks Community Gaming. The group no longer partnered with mega gaming company Bally's.
Yeah,
it's kind of leaving it open to other folks to come in, which is probably going to help them get over the line on this, I think.
Yeah, and so, we told you the last few weeks about the Osage Nation, and that was talked about. There were special meetings, a lot of mixed reviews from the community and people that had interest in that. And then we saw just last week, Miller County Commission heard from the private group again, right, which is Lake of the Ozarks Community Gaming, and all passed unanimously. The difference was with the private casino, it was a resolution, and so it didn't need a second reading. It passed unanimously, which is Lake of the Ozarks Community Gaming. They actually presented earlier that afternoon to the City of Lake Ozark. We heard from Andy Pruitt, who is with Lake of the Ozarks Community Gaming, and he noted, yes, no Bally's support this time, but what was maybe the biggest surprise or news in the evening was their partner. Maybe you recognize Jeff Tagedoff with Oasis Amusement Park. And they said they've had less opposition at the meeting. They even said Andy Pruitt spoke and said, there was less opposition tonight than we kind of anticipated. And so Jeff Tagedoff, not only an investor in this project, but the primary developer on this project. And we heard that night from not only Andy Pruitt, who is the lead investor with Gary Pruitt, of course, on this project. But we also heard from CEO of Osage Nation, Kimberly Pearson, who before the second reading vote just addressed her appreciation to the City of Lake Ozark to say we hope that this is our continued giving to the community, shows our level of investment to you guys and what's important to you, and talked about the rich ties the Osage Nation has to this land in this area, and that was really neat. And so it was a packed room at the City of Lake Ozark last Wednesday, and so both, passed unanimously. And so the City of Lake Ozark has those agreements in place now with both the Osage Nation and a private casino, should it come to fruition and get on the ballot, which is still a very big if, right? Yeah,
and there's big differences between the two casino groups, because the Osage Nation is a separate nation, so they really wouldn't, be subject to paying taxes and stuff like that. So what the city has to do is work out a deal to get money from the Osage Casino other than taxes, right, outside of taxes, whereas the private group would be subject to all the taxes and everything else. The weird thing about it is, I think we've learned in the last couple of weeks, is the City of Lake Ozark might make more from the Osage Indian Casino, working out a deal with that, because the privately owned casino is subject to taxes, but a lot of those taxes go to the state and not the local.
Right.
So it's kind of an interesting, weird mix of things going on here.
Yeah, we've covered it in depth the last couple of weeks here on Cup of Coffee, not only with the Osage Nation and the deal they struck or were looking to agree to, which is now final. You can go back and watch those, but now new into the mix is the private casino. Now they do have this resolution of support, and we said very big if, because you'll remember back in November, Missouri voters across the state of Missouri, the whole state, did not pass Amendment 5, which would have made way for them to amend the Missouri Constitution, allowing a 14th casino along the Osage River Casino. And so this group is making major headway, as you said, Lake of the Ozarks Community Gaming. And so I asked Andy Pruitt, who is the lead developer, what makes your group feel this certain this time around after losing and spending $10 million in November to lead up to that election, to get that on the ballot. What makes you feel confident you would this time around? And he gave very strong answer. He said, Congressional District 2 miscounted the signatures in 2024, and the recount court case cost us 4 months of campaign time. We're collecting signatures 30 days earlier this time, which should give us more than enough time to collect the required 232,000 valid signatures they would need to get this back on the ballot. They'll have 6 months to campaign this time around instead of 2. So that's the first reason they feel very strongly. The second reason, according to Andy Pruitt, is the campaign budget last time was $10 million, with $5 million of it spent on signature collecting in the lawsuit and $5 million on the campaign. They said that wasn't enough. This time they're going to spend $20 million on this campaign to get this on the ballot and campaign to get it to pass. And the third variable, which is probably the most important of any of them, is that Caesars spent $10 million opposing their campaign and the sports betting campaign last time around, and they have agreed to not do that this time around. This all according to Andy Pruitt. So when I ask him, like, what makes you guys feel so confident? Well, that's a big loss, right? $10 million didn't pass, and now what? Well, you doubled down. And they not only doubled down, but they've got some things working what they feel in their favor to see this potentially come to fruition. And so does Miller County, and so does the City of Lake Ozark. Otherwise, they would not be making agreements with this private casino. So that's interesting, and I appreciate Andy Pruitt in sharing that with us. So looks like their next order of business will be trying to get those 232,000 signatures, and if successful, then you'll see that appear once again on the 2026 ballot.
Yeah, and I think most of us were kind of surprised that this didn't pass a couple years ago when it was on the ballot, and it went down like 53 to 47%. But if Andy Pruitt is right, and they're not going to have $10 million spent against them, which Caesars did to defeat that last time around, because their rival Bally's would have been the casino here. That's why they spent the $10 million. And now it looks like whoever's casino it will be, Bally's or Caesars or somebody else, is kind of up for grabs, and they'll do a bidding for that probably.
Yeah, potentially. But, and I was surprised that they announced involvement from Jeff Tegetthoff.
Yeah.
And then you also saw last Wednesday, according to KRMS, that the Oasis Amusement Park should have a projected opening day at Lake of the Ozarks in stone. Last Wednesday was a big day for Tegetthoff, following months of delays from the timeshare acquisitions to the sale of the bonds and funding. Jeff Tegetthoff told KRMS that over $100 million worth of bonds were sold and closed on, with $700 million in checks being written to contractors, which will get the process back on track. Once contractors are back on the job, it's still anticipated the amusement park and parking garage parts of the project will open in the summer of next year, followed by the Marriott and Water Park to open in Q1 of 2027.
Yeah, and Tegetthoff says now with the funding in place, over $100 million. The money is flowing again, he said. Tegetthoff is planning on all subs meeting next week. Brinkman Constructors, general contractors, which is this week, yeah. So, I mean, they're really moving ahead, and the delays, I mean, obviously, the timeshare, that was a big delay, but there have been money delays over the last few years with this, and it looks like that is totally taken care of now.
Yeah, and Tegetthoff says the timeline is firm, with the largest wild cards out of the way. He told that to Lake Expo, and you alluded to the sub-meetings this week where Brinkman Constructors, the project's general contractor, will review with and then put those new timelines into place. He did say ride construction crews are still scheduled to arrive in February. We told you that a few weeks ago, and I'm hoping to have Jeff Tegetthoff on Cup of Coffee in our first show in December here in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and apparently Tegetthoff said the majority of the amusement park construction will be above ground now. A lot of what they've been working on until now has been below ground, because you got to do all the wiring and everything that goes, underneath the ground, and you don't really see a lot of that happening. So a lot of people are going, what are they doing over there? We don't see anything. He says, now you're going to start seeing it because it's going to be above ground.
Sure. We'll look forward to that skyline changing as that comes to fruition. And of course, we'll be following closely. All right, so along the same lines, talking of casinos, development projects, and things important here to Lake of the Ozarks, you better get ready, because online sports betting in Missouri is just a couple weeks away. December 1st was the date passed or agreed upon, and now Monday, online sports books were already allowing customer signups and deposits in the state of Missouri.
Yep, November 17th was the day they allowed that to start happening. And you've probably, if you've watched any TV lately, you've probably been seeing the commercials for all of this. You know, you got professional athletes, big stars,
Not
and everything.
just TV.
Yeah.
If you open your eyes,
Yeah, I
you know,
mean, it's
they've got
everywhere.
ad space on your wife's forehead. They've got it on your clothes. They've got it in your magazines, on your McDonald's cups. Wait, you guys don't eat McDonald's?
Yeah, so...
No, it's everywhere. You cannot turn on TV, social media, or entertainment and not see some kind of sports book marketing too.
And they passed this last year largely with a campaign that said, this is a good thing because some of the revenues will go to education, right? You know,
all about
they try to sell
child's
those
literacy,
things.
right?
Yeah.
All about child's literacy.
And, you know, you talk to a lot of the schools and they're like, well, we really won't be getting much of anything. So that was more, but they do establish a 10% tax on sportsbook revenue. Those proceeds, after the commission's expenses and funding for gambling addiction, right, will go towards education. We'll see how much that works out. We talked to some high school administration last year, and they were like, yeah, we did the numbers on it. And, you know, if you spread that out over all the schools in Missouri, you might get 1,000, you might get 1,500. It's not going to be much.
Do we not see the irony in something that we're allowing to happen in the process before it is allowed to happen, setting aside funds to deal with the problems it's going to come with and create?
Exactly.
There's no irony there.
No,
right?
I mean 10 or
because we're helping the kids
after the proceeds of gambling addiction programs, right?
Yeah, interesting. This was Amendment 2, which was passed, of course, in November. There's 9 mobile sportsbook that have already been granted temporary license in the state of Missouri: Circa, DraftKings, FanDuel, Underdog, Caesars, BetMGM, The Score, which formerly was ESPN Bet, Bet365, and Fanatics, which is 9 companies. You'll likely be seeing a lot of banner ads on your YouTube and social media, especially here in the coming weeks. So get ready for it everywhere you turn, whether in person or online. You got an opportunity to gamble.
Yeah, and this doesn't affect me because I don't like to gamble. I like my money too much, but I know it's going to affect a lot of people. It'll make it really easy to put some money up, and there's going to be some problems, I'm guessing. So
clearly, yeah. Again, when you have part of where we're going to split the proceeds, part of that's to deal with the problem that's going to come from us allowing this.
Yeah.
Well, they clearly know it may not be the best thing. But next headline, hey, guess what this weekend was? It was the first hunting weekend or opening weekend for deer hunting with firearms. And for the second year in a row, numbers are drastically low. And last year it was the acorn. You know, it was a very huge surplus of acorns, abundant crop, and also warm weather. Well, hey, it was another slow weekend for opening weekend.
Yeah, so the hunters harvested just over 70,000 deer on the first Saturday and Sunday. The first weekend is according to the Missouri Department of Conservation. The total just above last year's harvest, which sounds good. Like you said, last year's harvest was really down because of the bunch of acorns. Deer, could just eat those and not really have to get out and move around. Total is just above last year's, but still way below the over 90,000 deer harvested during the 2023 opening weekend 2 years ago. Season kicked off Saturday in particular, had about a 26% lower harvest in total than the previous 5 years average, 26%. So those numbers, even though they're above last year, way down on average over the last 5 years.
Yeah, and at an average of 70 degrees for the weather across the state of Missouri, that was near record-breaking temps for opening weekend. Saturday was especially slow, and Sunday they saw more activity. Heading into opening weekend, though, I thought it was interesting that the top counties through Missouri as of November for harvesting deer was Franklin, Howell, and Texas County. I'm going to keep an eye on that and see how frequently those counties appear in the top 5.
Yeah.
It always seems like it's different counties, that are ranking in the top 3 for that opening weekend.
We've got a lot of hunters in the woods around here. I've got several friends that are hunters are out opening weekend, including my pastor. And, he'll say, yeah, I saw you drive by the other day. I'm like, where were you? He's like, I was in the woods hunting. So here I am driving
that's
by.
not weird, Pastor.
He's seeing me, right? And if I'm not seeing him, but
if I didn't know your pastor, John Shelton, I'd say that was strange, but it's not, because it's that guy.
No, he's
no,
great.
and he harvests the deer and then he gives away all the meat.
Gives away the meat. That's
Yeah,
right. Which
that
is pretty
guy's
cool.
the man. Hey, something that's changed recently, if you didn't see, a lot of you did, but United States officially stopping the production of pennies.
Yeah, isn't this weird? They've been talking about this for a long time. So I didn't know that the penny was America's oldest coin. Apparently it's been around since 1793, which is pretty cool. I mean, obviously we became a country in 1776, so they started doing the penny about 20 years after that. So they're getting rid of it. It's done. They've gotten rid of making new pennies, right? The final pennies minted will be auctioned off and not go into circulation. So those don't even go into, those are probably going to be worth a lot of money in the future, those final pennies. But the reason they're doing this is because it became more expensive to make a penny than a penny is worth, right? It cost about 4 cents to make a penny, which is worth 1 cent.
Yeah, and they've changed it over time, right? They used to be nearly all copper.
Yeah.
Now pennies minted in 2025 are 97.5% zinc with 2.5% copper plating, and even at that, they're costing United States about 3.69 cents per coin.
Yeah.
The United States Treasurer, Brandon Beach, says this will save taxpayers an estimated $56 million annually. In 2021, there were 15 billion pennies minted. In 2024, just 3 years later, they minted less than 4 billion pennies. And this year, even though they said $56 million lost annually, the U.S. Mint reported in 2024 they lost $85 million on 3.2 billion pennies, and it leaves questions like, what are they going to do with sales tax, rounding up, rounding down? Well, that kind of, they say, evens out over time and it doesn't become an issue. Canada, they retired their penny in 2012.
Okay.
Not that I use Canada as a standard of excellence, but they said there was really no changes to consumer over time and it balances out. And in case you're wondering, the penny will stay in regards to still legal tender, as there are roughly 250 billion pennies thought to be in circulation. So even if they tried to get those back, that would be a long, lengthy process. This got me thinking a little bit though, like if pennies are losing our government money, what about the other coins they produce,
Yeah,
right?
nickels, dimes, quarters, yeah.
So a nickel costs the United States government 14 cents
What?
to make.
For 5 cents, it cost them 14?
3 times their investment.
That's crazy.
A dime costs less than 6 cents to
Make more dimes.
Yeah. A quarter, 15 cents.
Okay.
And I didn't even know they still minted these, but a $half cost 34 cents.
I didn't know they did those either.
So there still are coins that are being minted that are losing the government money. Nickel in particular.
Yeah, they need to get rid of that
14
nickel.
cents.
That's
just
crazy.
Wild, right?
That's worse than the penny.
Yeah,
right?
no doubt.
Pretty
All right.
much.
So hey, some great holiday events coming up around Lake of the Ozarks. One we want to tell you about is the 5th annual Westside Christmas Walk. There's 49 businesses involved this year. The Westside's held the first Saturday in December, this year, December 6th, and they hold it from all the different businesses, so you're aware of all the great things going on the West Side. They have so many places from eats and boutiques, and each business will have specials to offer, and they're compiling a business directory. You could go online and find of what individual businesses will be doing. They're all contributing a drawing prize or a gift certificate, so at the end, they'll give that away. It's a fun day full of great special events, and you can look for the signs with their logo to help you find participating businesses. But with 49 businesses along Highway 5, mark your calendar for the 5th annual West Side Christmas Walk on Saturday, December 6th. Should be a cool event.
Yeah, it should be really good. Good for the West Side businesses too.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great ones over on the West Side. Go check those out. Also, how about the holiday bike drive with Mad Dragon Trails through December 5th? They're giving away bikes during Christmas on the square in Camdenton on Saturday, December 6th, and they're needing some help. They're accepting bike donations through Friday, December 5th, whether it's new or gently used balance bikes, 16, 20, 24-inch bikes, and they're also accepting helmets, biking gloves, bells, horns for bikes, lights, all accessories. You can also make a monetary donation, but a really cool event. Contact Jan Pirtle at 660-247-3403 because the events are plentiful this time of year around the holidays. And one that I thought was kind of unique was our friends with the Malted Monkey, you know, on the Bagnell Dam Strip. They're doing Santa Monkey, and it is a fall and winter festive fun opportunity with photos, holiday cheer, and the lake's premier speakeasy. And it starts the November 26th through the 27th of December, and it's only Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 5 to 11. Really cool event. And with that, Malted Monkey, if you're wondering, like, hey, I need something cool for the Christmas, well, this is a good one. 2-for-1 season passes at Malted Monkey if you like to get up there. And I need to get you up there.
You've been up there. I've seen the video of that.
That was in my younger days, you know, but I want to get you up there. Now's the time. Buy one season pass, get one free, and that is through December. So make sure you take advantage of that. And then one of my favorite organizations, the Greater Lake Area Chorale, they do their free Christmas concerts around the lake area every year, and the Greater Lake Area Chorale is hosting their first Christmas concert Sunday, November 23rd, which is this weekend, at the Lake West Christian Church at 2 p.m. Their next one will be next Sunday on the 30th at Lake Ozark Christian Church in Lake Ozark, then at Our Savior's Lutheran Church in Camdenton, then Christ the King Lutheran Church on the Strip, and on the 21st they'll be at the Eldon First Baptist Church in Eldon. Again, these are free to the public and they always start at 2 o'clock, but if you love Christmas music and you love a big choir, you know, the Greater Lake Area Chorale is incredible in this Christmas concert. All your favorite songs, right?
That's
from
cool.
Christmas.
I didn't know about that. The wife and I might go to that.
Yeah, and you've got plenty of opportunities with 5 chances through December 21st. So make sure you take advantage of that really cool stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so hey, football, right? We told you about the Osage Indians, but there's other football, believe it or not, like the Missouri Tigers.
You know, they surprised me. They played great, won a big game against Mississippi State with their third-string quarterback. Everybody else is hurt, so good job, Mizzou. That was a nice win.
Yeah, and how about Ahmad Hardy? He leads the FBS in rushing yards. He had 300 yards and 25 totes with 3 scores. Man, 1346 on the season with 15 touchdowns, and he's only a sophomore.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
He's topped the century yard mark in 7 of their 10 games. They need to give him the ball more.
Yeah.
You know, no doubt about it. And they've got a tough remaining schedule. They've got at Oklahoma, who you saw them beat Alabama Saturday,
big
right?
win.
One of the best teams in America is the Oklahoma Sooners. Shout out to my buddy Tyler Ward. And then Arkansas, that's always tough to go there, regardless of how the Razorbacks' record is. That's a tough place to play.
Yeah, big rivalry.
Mizzou's got a tough route, but big win for them on Saturday.
Yep.
All right, how about those Chiefs?
Horrible. Terrible.
No, just tell us how you really feel. A tough loss to Denver. They had their chances, but I mean, Denver's good. 9-2. They look like they're going to win the division, very likely. Chiefs host the Colts. They're at the Cowboys, versus the Texans, versus the Chargers. Is 2025 a loss for Kansas City?
It's getting real close to that. And you know the most surprising part about that is Patrick Mahomes is playing terribly. I mean, he's probably playing the worst football of his career this year. Whatever's causing that, I don't know. But if the Chiefs are going to turn it around, people like Patrick are going to have to start playing a whole lot better.
I hate to say it, but that's a bunch of gobbledygook. It's not on Mahomes. But I'll tell you, I want to congratulate Spencer Wall.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. 14 games he got right.
That's
and this
incredible.
was not an easy week
No.
to get a lot of games right. Spencer Wall is your Slumberland Best Seat in the House winner, our NFL Weekly Pick'em Challenge. Make sure you take advantage of the Black Friday sale right now. There are recliners everywhere inside this place. Great Christmas gift. Make sure you take advantage of the special. And if you haven't, you can still participate. You can still participate in the weekly schedule, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just jump in, and it makes it a lot of fun because, you know, you're kind of picking against 30, 40 other people and see how you do. And it's fun.
.com, you see it on our website. And your password to get in is Slumberland. And even though they might be lost for you to win the 2 recliners, I got to tell you, Alma Anderson is in first place.
Incredible.
To win both recliners that we partnered with Slumberland to give away with 114 points right behind her. 2 points behind Nick Reese at 112. And after a huge week, Spencer Wall snuck into third at 110. And Big Rudy and Uncle Chris right there on the edge with 109, still a lot of hope, but it's going to be a great week. Thanksgiving week right around the corner, and of course, make sure you go connect with us on all of our social media platforms so you can get the latest on how Osage and St. Clair game shakes out. But I'm going to end with this week. Roll, Tribe, roll. Osage gets the W and moves on.